Hello and welcome to another episode of Staying Power. This is a show that's all about building a better life. We all want that. So for every week, we come together for an hour to talk about one way in which we can build a better life through developing more resilience in everything and laughing along the way. By we, I mean myself, JDK Winnikin, and across from me, as always, my lovely co-host, my business partner, my dear friend, so many things to me and to so many other people, Ashley Kniebel. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going very well.
Very good. Very good. It is Valentine's Day week.
It is. That's right.
In case all the things out there reminding you have not gotten your attention.
Right.
It's seemingly everywhere. And we are going to do a bit of a Valentine's themed episode today.
A little bit.
Yeah. Ashley had a good idea for one. And so this is going to be one of those days where Ashley's driving the bus.
Oh
kind of excited about that. But we're actually going to do things a little differently today. We're going to do right out of the gate our weekly segment where each of us takes 2 minutes to talk about something that happened in our week, what we've been learning from it, how it's been challenging us, and how we're developing resilience from it. Just so you know that we are practicing what we preach here on Staying Power. So this week it is 2 minutes of terror. Here we go. Is that something expensive breaking that? Yeah, there you go.
7 years of bad luck.
The breaking of a heart. Our engineer just said. Oh no!
Now we know how he feels.
That's
about
very
this
Valentine's
week.
Day sentiment by Nathan, our engineer. Nice. All right. Okay, so even those 2 minutes of terror, we're laughing. I think this is good. All right. So Ashley, what was your terror from the past week?
Oh my gosh, I am so tired of having to learn something new that I did not elect to learn.
Oh no!
I sound so salty, which I am. It just, for those who have been like listeners and followers over the last year, they've known my occupation, professional life has been just like very.
You are in the health industry, which is hard.
It's trying, and my particular office and whatnot has been like growing, and we're going through so many changes all over the board, and I have to be, because of my role, I have to be part of all of them, which is a blessing and a curse all in one go.
Yeah, because you run the show. I'm
a little ringmaster and
of a circus. Oh no.
Totally how it feels some days. Definitely my circus and my monkeys, or whatever that phrase is. But but I love it. But there are certain times where I'm like, can we just rest for a bit? And I'm right in the middle of learning how to do like a new payroll system, which is really important because it's how people get paid, and that's a very, very valuable thing, and it needs to be right and correct and done in precision. And it's a whole new system, and so I'm learning it in like real time. So there's like deadlines, and it's stressful, and it's so interesting to feel that part of me that's so resistant to the learning that I'm just like, I don't even want to deal with it. I want to ignore it. It's the last thing I want to do every day, and I feel that. And so as we are honest on the show, I'm learning to reorient and like embrace it, and like, no, you're learning something new. This is great. This is valuable. This is going to be helpful for you. Imagine how good it's going to feel when you totally know this inside and out.
Right.
But I'm definitely going through that slog right now of like, I have to learn something new. It's uncomfortable, and I don't like not knowing things.
Right.
So yeah.
So you're a little bit of an overload.
A little bit.
Okay.
But that's okay.
All right. That's a good terror. Okay. So mine is I continue, unfortunately, to keep battling illnesses.
Yeah, you have.
This has been happening quite a bit.
Like the 800th week.
The 800th week.
Probably feels like it.
Yeah, it feels like it. Now, this most recent bout started a little over a week ago, and it was, of all the times I've been sick in the last 7 or 8 months, this has been like the lowest impact, right? I feel good about that. Each one, my first one was a doozy. Like I was sick for so long.
I'll remember that.
Yeah, exactly. That went on for weeks. This one has been only a week, and I'm feeling much better, but I've been really frustrated by this, right? And so to me, the terror is not so much being sick. It's more of a 2 minutes of struggle, like, because all the different pieces of this, and I think it's associated at first and foremost, listeners know I moonlight as a bartender a couple nights a week. I think it starts there. because it's 2 nights a week where I'm up very, very late. My sleep schedule is a bit off. I'm also very front facing in a very active public place, and a lot of germs coming in and out, fatigue, that type of thing. But I'm struggling and working to make sure I'm keeping my sleep in line, making good nutritional choices, making sure, the supplements I need that I'm getting, the self-care is good, the exercise is good, and it challenges a lot of that. So I know there's this cascading effect from all these other things, and it has me kind of feeling old on some level where I'm like, okay, so many different pieces I got to keep track of just to kind of keep myself at this baseline level of health. Now, I know to a certain degree there's some truth to that. There's some not truth to that.
That's interesting.
The struggle is just that it's tiring, and I'm tired of being sick. I don't like being sick. I'm not making a million stories out of it that it means I'm, my immunity's falling apart or whatever like that. It's just, I don't like being at my best, right? And it makes it harder to do all the things that I like to do and show up the way I want to show up when I'm under the weather like this on a regular basis.
It gets annoying. It gets old.
Oh, it's annoying.
You know?
And this last one was just like all like head congestion. Like my face was just so packed full of garbage that I just couldn't get rid of it. It was just tough.
Oh, that's awful.
I know. And I tried to like find the bright side because I'd rather have that than like a really sore throat, right? Or really bad.
Really?
Oh yeah. Sore throats are the worst. Sore throats are the worst. I'd rather have the congestion. But nevertheless.
I hate congestion.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's the one you hate the most?
Yeah.
You'd rather have a sore throat?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Not me.
So
Of course, if I have another week of my ears still popping at random moments,
yeah.
maybe I'll feel differently. But
Sure.
anyway, that's mine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So there we go. Our 2 minutes of terror for this
Our
week.
preferred illnesses. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I just sound so old. I need one of those pill carrier things, like, pill things like where I have my supplements and all that stuff. I just need all that laid out. Anyway, I've reached that stage of life.
Oh, I still have a few years before I get there, but I'll start taking notes.
You'll start taking notes on what it's like. Yeah, good idea.
Observations. From
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Okay. All right. So this is Valentine's week. We did tease it a little bit,
Clearly
Ashley.
one of us dressed up.
Well, I did too.
You know what? It's okay if you're feeling a little gray about the holiday. It's
So
fine.
if you can see my shirt on the stream, that's my Valentine shirt.
It is?
Sure.
I like it.
Sure. You're gonna have to look at the stream to find out what it is. So anyway, but yeah, you look lovely. Nice shade of red.
Thanks.
Lovely jacket pattern. All this kind of stuff.
You know what? I don't wear this one very often.
You should. It's nice.
Well, thank you.
It's nice. And red's a power color on you.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's also a very emotionally stirring color, so I try not to wear it at work very often.
Emotionally stirring.
It is.
It is.
In medical, you want to have on
blue,
soft blues, yellows, and calmer, cooler tones.
Yep.
Not something like this.
Welcoming.
Anyways,
tone,
I do like red.
Okay, very good. Anyway, what's perfect for today?
Oh, thanks.
So, Ashley, why don't you tell everybody what we're going to do today? Because this is going to be fun. This is not like a lot of our normal episodes where we spend a lot of time kind of prepping up what do we want to talk about, where we want to go.
This one was a little off the cuff.
A little off the cuff. Go ahead, Ashley.
When we were trying to figure out what we were going to talk about, because usually we have something that happens during the week that's inspiring and brings up a topic or whatnot. And this time when we got together to discuss, we didn't really have anything revolutionary that came to mind. And so then we're like, well, Valentine's Day is coming up, and we were bantering, and I'm like, well, what do you love and hate about love? And not necessarily the holiday, but love in general. And I say hate with a little bit of a joke on it, right? Because maybe some people really do. We do not hate love.
No.
We do enjoy love around here. But it just is kind of a funny thing because there's a lot that centers around the topic of love. And it doesn't necessarily mean romantic love.
Right.
It can be unconditional agape love. It can be love of friendship and just love and adoration of people or, certain things or whatnot. So
appreciation of nature and beauty.
Yeah.
Right? All those things. Yeah, because we looked into this a year ago. We did an episode 62, by the way, if you want to go back and find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Rinds,
Yeah.
Right?
Love Can Be Pork Rinds is the name of the episode. Yes. And you'll have to listen to it to find out the context of that statement. But nevertheless, we talked a little bit about what it can be. And so you can go look at that. It's not available on our YouTube channel. We started doing video after we did that episode. But you can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. So in some ways, what I like about this is kind of going at it from a different angle.
Sure.
Right. So what is it that you want to know? Loving and hating about love. Where do you want to start?
let's start with one half of that coin because, let's just put some organizational into this. Let's start about what we love about love.
What we love about love. Okay. Kick us off.
What do I love about love?
Well, or do you have a question to ask me? Like I said, we're kind of...
What are your thoughts on love?
What are my thoughts on love? That it is absolutely a core part of our being to give it out and to receive it. Yet our experiences and our anxieties and our fears can sometimes get in the way of either one of those. And that is probably, whether we know it or not, probably one of the primary sources of our frustrations and difficulties in life in general, is the degree to which we struggle or work to either give it out or receive it. I think that's generally universal. Certainly true in my case, right? It can certainly be that way. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes, not all the time. That's my initial thought on love. It's a vital part of who we are.
We had a really interesting little snippet of our conversation when we were discussing this about how love and care and adoration for people can really transcend over a period of time.
Oh, yes.
And
You wanted me to talk about that?
I mean, just to bring it up, we mentioned there was a couple movies that we spoke about, and obviously The Notebook is one that's kind of...
The Notebook, oh yeah.
Comes to mind, right? It is a very sweet, endearing story, and sometimes people scoff at it because it is such a highly romantic story, and it's
very sentimental,
very emotionally stirring and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there is something really relatable about that that I think a good portion of people have gone through, where they really connected with somebody a long time ago. Maybe it was in their youth, or maybe they did as a grown adult, and it was not great timing. Or, No, like to say the right person, wrong time, or whatnot. But it doesn't have to be a long period where you dated for a few years, or it could have been you met them for 2 weeks, and then something happened and took you two in different directions.
Yeah,
and how that person. This is just fascinating to me, that person can still mean something of high value to you.
Yeah.
Even if they're not involved in your day-to-day, your week-to-week interaction at all.
Yep.
You may go years without speaking to them.
Yep.
And then you can see them again, and it's it never stopped. No matter how much time has passed.
Yeah. And that movie hits on some other things without spoiling it. It hits on things like really loving somebody through the most difficult things in their life, even the end of their life, right? I mean, there's so many elements to that. And, I will say in that film, nobody's acting really perfectly, right? In all this, right? It's all, there's, you're seeing the rough sides of people in that, right? As well. Okay. So yeah, that's one. The other movie, which I think, and I'm going to stand on this. I think this is the best expression of love in cinema that I've ever seen, even though it's not what we would call a love story movie. Interstellar.
Oh, great movie.
Christopher Nolan's film with Matthew McConaughey is the best illustration, description, exploration of that kind of deep love that I've ever seen on screen. It is absolutely majestic, but you got to stay through the whole film to get it. And it's a long movie, and it's covering a lot of different stuff. It's also one of the most scientifically accurate films ever made, as it turns out.
Oh.
It's dealing with black holes and time, wormholes and, theory of relativity. It's amazing. And yet it's actually a story about love in the end. And in this case, it's the love of a parent for a child, but also there's a romantic element with some other ones. And there's a great scene in there where Anne Hathaway talks about her character is looking for this man that she's loved for her whole life, who's may or may not be alive somewhere out there in the universe. And she talks about love being the only thing that human beings engage in or appreciate that transcends time and space. That when somebody dies, we don't stop loving them, right? We don't stop remembering them. We don't stop looking back on their life and appreciating what they give. So the time of their time here has ended. So it transcends that, and it transcends space because they continue to live on, period, in people's memories and people's actions, that type of thing. To me, that is what, and the scenes in that. There's recently a person on social media I follow who's discovering a lot of these movies for the first time.
Oh.
And she's made quite a following for herself.
Me.
Yeah, it's not Ashley. But she did all the Star Wars movies and loved those, and she's done the Lord of the Rings movies now. But the number one movie that people were recommending to her followers, which is now in the millions, was Interstellar. And so she films herself watching these movies. Interstellar just wrecked her. Just completely wrecked her. I mean, and it's amazing. But yes, that kind of thing. I think that a movie like that illustrates to what degree love can literally be, without putting too fine a point on it, a heartbeat for us, right? Something that measures life and kind of keeps us moving, applied to ourselves, applied to other people, like you said, romantic, platonic, parental, whatever the case may be.
Well, there's a point to that also, that interesting how you say that a person's memory lives on with us, you know, and I think that speaks volumes to what kind of impression that you leave with people, and how you treat people, and how you make people feel. Because, you know, think about like wherever you're at in life, how many years ago did you have people who were like leading characters and roles in your life that are no longer in existence in your current life? Yeah. And how did you leave that? You know, did you treat them well? Did you give them love? Did you do anything that if you're still living in their memories now, how does that look? Yeah. And obviously people will like create their own impression of you. They will decide what kind of character you are in their story. Sure. But I think it's just a little reminder to people, like, to make sure that you, as best as you can in any given moment, to choose well. Yeah. To leave a good impression with people, to treat them in a way that is kind. Yeah. And love first, especially in this day and age now. Yeah. Many people don't choose love anymore. It's true. And it's a good idea always to lead with a little bit of love. Absolutely. I love that. I had a friend of mine not too long ago gave me what was one of the most sincere and appreciated compliments that I've ever received. And she said to me, "You are the best person I know at letting the people know in your life that you care about them, that you do that a lot." And I do. And it isn't because I'm hoping to get the same thing back. It's always nice. But I've had enough life experience to know that, you know, our actions, our attitudes, our choices can determine consequences that, if they're positive ones, can build relationships. And if they aren't, they can wreck them. And in some cases, irrevocably. And I just choose not to do that. And so when I have people in my life that I really connect with, that I really value, I don't tire of telling them that and letting them know, because it goes a long way, right? We can assume a lot from the people that we're closest to, that you don't always have to say those things. You don't always have to express that. Yes. But very rarely does it land poorly where you're like, "Oh, you're telling me you care about me this much again?" Right? I mean, that kind of thing. That's true. All right. Okay. So this is a good start. All right. So Ashley's leading a conversation today on love, but it's what we love and what we hate. I like this. It's going to be fun. Right. So you'll have to come back after our first break to find out more about where we're going to go with this. I'm interested to find out where we go with this. It's going to be great. So come on back here in just a minute here on Staying Power.
My roommate Taylor lost her mom and just a few weeks later went through a really bad breakup. She kept a gun for protection, and I just couldn't let something preventable happen. I pressed pause. I filed a firearm restraining order to temporarily remove the gun. It wasn't easy for Taylor, but she got the help she needed.
By temporarily removing a gun, a firearm restraining order gives a person in crisis time to heal. Visit illinois.gov/pause to heal. Brought to you by the Illinois Department of Public Health, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Don't ask me to talk. There's a lot of talk out there. Political talk, sports talk, girl talk, trash talk, and so on. But there's only one, Don't Ask Me to Talk, helmed by conversational off-roaders and podcast pals Eric Ryder and Stacey Heller. They follow every tangent they encounter, from cultural blind spots to their infamous weekly Wheelo topics. Listen wherever you listen to your fave podcasts. Subscribe and share too. Or tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. or Tuesday at 4 p.m. on KKNW.
Want to be part of the tapestry of talk on 1150 KKNW? Check out the Be a Star section on 1150kknw.com.
Welcome back to Staying Power. JD here with Ashley.
Hello.
It is our Valentine's Day.
Our love episode.
Love episode. But we don't mean to make it sound sing-songy. It's not. It's actually what we love and hate about love. Yeah. Which I think is a really interesting angle to take. So we've talked about what we love about it.
Well,
is there
yes,
more?
there's always more. But
There's
I
always
think
more.
you were touching something on the very end before we went to break, and about how, like most people never tire of being like, oh, you're telling me again that you love me, that type of thing. I think loving and caring and showing adoration for whoever it might be, whether it's a significant other, a friend, or hopefully whoever's on the receiving end is okay with it. No stalker vibes, but gotta make sure it's like agreed.
Yeah.
But
informed consent on all parties.
right?
Yes.
But it's something that you can always do and pay into, and it's going to create a positive outcome usually.
Pay into it. I like that.
It's always something worthwhile depositing into.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the actions and the efforts probably will not go unnoticed. They will have an effect. You can always do it, and whoever's on the receiving side is probably going to enjoy and appreciate it or feel some type of good way because of it. It's like always at our disposal too. And sometimes, especially if you're in like a longer term relationship or whatnot, or even a longer term friendship, you kind of forget to take those leaps and strides of like somehow showing appreciation and care. Mm-hmm. And when you do, it's like, oh my gosh, like huge. It shouldn't take a Hallmarky holiday to remind people to do that. Like these are things you want to do throughout the whole year from time to time.
Yeah.
And when was the last time that somebody did something and it made you feel so special and so seen and appreciated, and it was out of the blue and it was really impactful? And it's like, we all have the opportunity to do that all the time for somebody, for anybody.
That's a really great point. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good.
Okay. You just saying seeing somebody, you equated that with an act of love. And I think that's absolutely true. No matter who it is. It could be somebody you have a really established relationship with. It could be somebody new. It could be somebody that's an acquaintance. But if you're seen and appreciated, I think our bodies respond to that and our brains respond to that as an act of love. Mm-hmm. First thing that comes to mind is something that happened the other night for me at the pub.
Oh.
When it was really interesting. I was sitting there and I'm just doing my thing, and I've grown to really enjoy the job. I feel like I'm confident in the job, and I just try and stay steady, right? In the whole thing, and not get too wrapped up one way or the other in how things are going. These couple regulars were sitting at the bar, guys that I know. I genuinely enjoy them. We have good conversations. And one of them, they were talking about lots of different things, but they started talking about all the different people that work at the pub. And, I work with great people there. That's nice, right? One of them says to me, the thing, JD, I love about you is you're just like this calm baseline. Like you're just this steady presence, right? All the other bartenders have their own way and they're all, all good at what they do and all good energy and that type of thing. He says, but when I come in and you're here, you just create this calm environment. I come in here to relax. Mm-hmm. And I can just sit here at the bar and know I can have a relaxed time because you're in charge of everything. You're going to keep things steady. You keep things light, but you listen, you ask questions, you have good humor, but you just stay calm. Nothing ever really flaps you. You don't get upset. You don't lose your temper. You don't get impatient. And the other guy's like, yeah, that's true. And they just went through this whole thing. And I felt so appreciated in that moment. I told him, I said, I appreciate that because that's how I'm trying to show up in life, right? I'm trying to show up that way. So to have two guys, that's the extent of my relationship with them. I don't hang out with them on the outside, anything like that. I just see them in there. We catch up. That meant a lot. That's seeing. And it triggers the same sets of feelings in me that when we're talking about loving and loving acts, that does with the people that I'm truly close to.
It's very cool.
Interesting.
That's a really good example because, whenever we say love, we always think of like the romantic. Like that's always the defaulted.
Particularly this time of year.
Yes. And a lot of times people can say, well, that doesn't apply to me because I'm not in a relationship with somebody. Mm-hmm. It's like we don't have to be in a relationship with somebody.
Not a romantic one, right?
To do those type of things. So
true.
That's, I think, a fun part about love. And sometimes like this time of year, it helps kind of remind people and give them ideas of what they can do and like little special things. But like, let me tell you, flowers are a year-round thing. They don't just come out in the stores at like this time of year,
Flowers
gifts are like, they're year-round,
Oh
special
gosh.
little notes are year-round. Like,
that's so funny.
it's not just all one time, but
right.
anyways. All right. Well, That's some fun things that
Okay.
I love about love. And it's just, it's so fun. And it's also like you feel good giving and you feel good receiving.
Yeah, and if you give, you tend to get it back, right?
Yeah.
You create the space for that. So much about love, I keep reminding myself and keep experiencing, is about action. And sometimes the attitude isn't always there, right? You can be tired, it can be difficult, you can kind of be in the day in, day out with various relationships, but stepping into an active choice to show, express love, appreciation, see them, tends to generate it in ourselves.
Yes.
And that's not just a woo-woo thing. That's a physical thing.
Right. You're exercising the muscle of love.
Yeah.
And
creating responses in the brain and the body that reinforce it. Yeah.
Well, because there is the other side of it, and not to say it's the hate side of love, because that sounds awful to say.
Hate in quotes.
Yeah, the hate side of love, right? Like the more trying half of the love coin is sometimes like loving people through like difficult times. I mean, we mentioned it during like in the movies and whatnot that we mentioned earlier, but it can be tiring and cumbersome when you do love somebody and they are going through a difficult spell, because it can feel like so much care and love and kindness and actions that you pour into them with the hopes that it will help them. And at times it feels like it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it's not even seeping in. It's just bouncing off. It's like, it feels like almost like pointless. Why would I do this? And in moments like that, I have been in moments like that. This is a personal situation that I've been in before. And it's like, there comes moments where it's like, should I give up? Should I continue?
Yeah.
What is the point anymore?
Yeah.
Am I doing this so they will improve and feel better? Or am I doing this so I will feel better because they're improving? Is this more about them? Is it more about me? And that's a very deep question to ask yourself. And then, in that comes up like wanting to make sure that you have healthy boundaries about not overstretching too far.
Right.
That you're not sacrificing yourself so much that there's nothing left of you.
Yeah.
Because you gave it all to somebody else.
Yeah.
Either. And I mean, it can be uncomfortable. The amount of sacrifices that really loving somebody acquires and requires can be a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's very true. And I would hazard a guess, it's been the case for me, but I'm sure for you as well, very rarely does that open-ended question have a real clear answer on a day-by-day basis. And so you have to make a choice in the midst of uncertainties every single day to do that. And that can be taxing, right? That can be taxing. Now, as somebody who has witnessed you go through this, one of the things that's always really resonated in me about you is your willingness to keep stepping into that, right? And I don't mean that, and not in a way that I think you're blind to the realities of things, just the opposite. You are willing to engage in that difficult open-ended question and stick with it, knowing that at some point, if you get a very clear answer, you'll respond to it. That's a level of faith in yourself that I find really inspiring.
Thank you.
In that sense. Yeah. For me, one of the challenges that comes up is the hate, quote unquote, is the challenge of me of staying in the moment with things. Now, in the history of my romantic life, that has been particularly acute, where it's like, what does this all mean? I can suddenly be running out ahead of things, like meet somebody new, wonder about how it's going to go, or they're interested in me, and sometimes feeling that pressure, right? You can feel that. Because I can show both sides of like anxious attachment, where if I really like somebody, I can be like, oh, try to hold on real tight. I can also show it on an avoidance side, where I'm like, oh, what does this mean? I like this person, or I'm interested in this person, or I don't know what to do with this. I'm not sure what I'm ready for. I don't want to let anybody down if I don't meet their expectations, or if this doesn't go where they want it to go. All of a sudden, I'm asking all these questions that have me completely separated from the moment that I'm in. Instead of enjoying the time with the person in the moment, I can get caught up in all of those larger questions or all those larger fears. The challenge for me is, and in some ways it's a really good thing, because any good relationship of any kind, but particularly one that's going to grow on a deeper level, a romantic one, a really good friendship, is going to hold up a mirror to ourselves, right? And this is where movies can get in the way, right? Movies tend to end when the good stuff has finally, quote unquote, happened. When the wedding has happened, when the happily ever after moment happens, it very rarely moves beyond that. Sometimes they'll go into a sequel, right? And something's happened in between, but they don't show that part, right?
No.
They don't show that part, right? They talk about something later, right? And then they rebuild it, and chances are it's a coming together again story, right? That kind of thing. To me, that's the real, where the hate can come in, because it's that mirror makes us take a good look at ourselves. And depending on what it is, it can feel exhausting, right? I had to go through the experience of recognizing that my discomfort that I can get when someone is really expressing affection for me, that it kicks up anxiety. I had to really take a look at, okay, what is it about yourself that you don't like, that you can't hold on to this?
Oh, interesting.
That you can't take this. I've had to look at that. And I go, oh, whoa. And some of it I've recognized has been continued effects of the really difficult past I created for myself and for other people once upon a time, that is almost 15 years in the past, still has an effect on some level, on a core level that I'm not always conscious about, but it takes those conscious reminders for me to go, oh, okay, that's still a thing, right? I'm still holding myself in check, or I'm still having difficulty responding to that effectively. That kind of stuff is really hard, because like me, like anybody else, I want to stay in the easy parts.
Sure.
I want to stay in the easy parts. That part is easy. Another difficult one, a hate thing, is when somebody, like you said, is going through something terrible, and you know you can't really help other than just sit in the space. You know, you talked about somebody going through difficulties in their own life. You know, it could be mental illness. It could be just life in general. For me, the last few years, grief has been a big one. Having dear friends going through horrible loss, and sitting with that, on one hand, knowing the people that they're grieving, and so having my own grief over that, and then recognizing that they need me to just be there, and knowing that there's not more I can do than that. I have this tendency to want to make things better, to want to help improve things, and I try the best I can. But you can't do anything about that, except just commiserate and sit and let them vent, and or go do things with them, things like that. And that's meaningful. But man, sometimes it's just, particularly when you see them get hit with a wave of grief, it's, and that's usually when words fail, right? That's usually when then it becomes a hand on the shoulder, or a hug, or a quiet moment, leave them alone, right? Or stepping away for them to have a moment by themselves. That kind of stuff is hard. That's the cost, because in the end, the things that we love the most probably will cause us the greatest deal of pain.
Of course they will.
Because that's the nature of things. The people that we love will depart. And the more we love them deeply, the more we're going to grieve them. It's just part and parcel of the business. Yeah.
I would say also personally, and seeing some of my friends go through this, is like the death of a I love would have been type of situation. Where yes, like you love somebody dearly and think you're going to spend the rest of your life with them, and then something happens and you no longer are. The whole mental dream and everything you imagined is gone.
And the actual work has gone nowhere.
Yes,
right,
the work it didn't conclude with the outcome that you hoped and dreamed and expected to.
Yeah.
We all assume we're going to have a fairy tale at some point. Or people lose their children, they miscarry, or they're not able to have kids. They've always envisioned having that, and then I have seen the struggles of that, and that is awful. And it's because they have loved the idea, or they loved the person before they met them.
Yeah.
They loved the idea of being a parent, and now they're not going to be, at least in the way that they had originally imagined to be.
The love of the dream. Yeah.
Right, the love of the dream. And sometimes those moments can be so horrific and so difficult that people completely shut themselves off from wanting to do that again, because it was so incredibly painful.
Yeah.
People have gone through loss of partners and it is just devastating. And they can't even imagine or wrap the head around the idea of doing it again.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not worth it
Mm-hmm.
if I'm going to feel this kind of pain again.
Yeah.
But I do think that love can heal after a proper amount of time.
Yes.
It really can.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the heart is a muscle. And I know we talk about love in like a different sense, not like in a physical, tangible sense, but the heart is a muscle and muscles can heal and grow.
Yeah.
Again. And so can love.
They can't. Yes. Very well said. I think that's very true. I've seen both. I have seen people who have never recovered from the loss of something, loss of the dream, loss of the spouse. And I've seen others who have been able to somehow, some way, find a way to allow that legacy and allow that experience to drive them forward, to continue to live, right? And we all have our day in, day out struggles with these things, right? To show up with these things or to, our experiences do things to us, not only in a positive way, but in a difficult way. And they trigger responses in the body and in the brain. And they're all, they become part of a complex mix when you add them with all the other elements of life that are seemingly uncertain and all the other things in life that we have zero control over, right? And that can be exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be exhausting. One thing, though, that I think is interesting is if we step back and say, okay, if that hate, quote unquote, is so strong, take yourself out of that for a second and say you don't have any of it. You don't have the friendships in particular, but then you don't have to deal with the loss, but you have to deal with the loneliness. Which one do you want?
Right.
And I think almost without hesitation, some people might choose loneliness because it's a protection, right?
Right.
It's no, I would rather just hurt on my own, right? But I think in the end, we would choose the choices that at some point might bring us that difficulty, right, of grief.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and pause for a second,
Okay.
right? Second.
Yeah, one more break.
One more break. And when we come back, we'll see where this goes. I'm not sure what practical things. We've been talking about practical stuff since the very beginning. So we'll just kind of continue with this for the last part of today's episode of Staying Power. Stick around.
"14 years in prison for killing a young woman. A 15-year sentence for a crash that caused 3 deaths. 12 and a half years for killing a child and critically injuring her mother. All true stories, all caused by marijuana-impaired drivers. No matter what you tell yourself, if you feel different, you drive different. So, if you're high, just don't drive." Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdman. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Smart Talk for Smart People. Alternative Talk 1150 a.m.
Welcome back to Staying Power. JD here with Ashley.
Hi.
And it's our Valentine's Day episode. Ashley is more accurately dressed for the occasion than I am. But nevertheless, we've been talking about the love and the hate of love, right? And there's both. And I think what I appreciate about this conversation, Ashley, is we're acknowledging what a quintessentially human thing we are talking about when we talk about with love. It brings joys, it brings challenges, it brings great moments, it brings, difficult moments of loss, of grief, change, all these things. And yet we seemingly seek all the different forms of love out, whether we know we do or not. This time of year, everybody's seemingly focused on romantic, right? But I would say one of the things that's so challenging about Valentine's Day is it's overly sentimental in regards to what love is about. It's meant to, and there's room, like you said, there's room for the sweetness, there's room for the kindness and the cute little things, the feel goods. There's room for all that. And there's absolutely nothing that says it has to be that way for you, right? holidays, and I say this as somebody who has struggled with them in the past, holidays are all what we assign them to be.
Yes.
In the end.
Yeah,
Now,
they
that's
are.
an easy thing to say, simple thing to say. It can be difficult in practice when we're getting all these social messages about what a holiday is supposed to bring. But it is in the end what we make it. So, people are doing different things. What was the one you were telling me about? Like women doing
Like Galentine's.
Galentines?
Yeah, yes, it's been a thing the last few years. I think because honestly, women are kind of sick of the dating pools. Men probably are too, but they spend more time with their girlfriends, you know, and they get together and they, go out to dinner with their friends, or they have like girls over and they drink wine and they, watch movies and whatever, and just spend time with their friends instead and love on their friends. And I think it's a great idea, honestly. I think me personally, I love loving on the people I care about.
Yeah.
I don't love on everybody. I don't have time for that.
That's certainly true.
And not everyone is deserving of it. Just saying. But
there's that sass, I know.
the
Okay.
people that I truly love and care about, I love loving on them. I love spoiling them. I find so much joy in doing little thoughtful, kind things for people. And I don't mean just like that's only reserved for like those in romantic type of categories. I mean just like people that really mean something to me. I really enjoy doing something to make them feel special, to know that out of everybody in the world, there's at least one person that sees them, that cares about them, that they are appreciative,
How do you do that? I mean, we've heard so much over the last years of like love languages, right? It's almost become like this standard conversation point that everybody's, what's your love language?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you, and I think we all show them in different ways with different people. That's my,
Well, generally, I think the idea is that you speak to others in languages that speak most to you.
yes.
So I love words of affirmation. So I'm always complimenting people and saying things because I'm speaking my personal language to others.
Right.
So it is really interesting to figure out what somebody else's is.
Yeah.
Like I know one of my staff members, it was very obvious from the get-go, she's a gift giver because she is always giving little gifts and whatnot. And so then when I decided one day out of the blue to gift her with something, it made like a huge impression. And that told me like, okay, yeah, your love language is probably gifts, or at least one of them is,
One of them
right?
is, right.
But to answer your question, like, what do? I do like to write, like, out of the blue, like, little notes. It could be a text. It could be an actual, like, card in the mail. It could be some sort of way of just verbally giving appreciation of, like, kind of like what they said to you at the pub that one night. I see you, and maybe they're going through something really difficult. It's not just me waking up in the day and be like, oh, I'm so thankful for you. It's like, hey, I see you're going through this, and I see your tenacity. I see your determination, and I see how much growth you've had, and you may not feel it right now, but for those of us watching on the outside, like, we see it. I see it, and I just want to acknowledge you. I respect what you have done, what you've accomplished, something like that. It could also be like very sweet and kind and, whatnot. But I do like to do things like that. I do like giving gifts. I feel like I struggle giving gifts because gifts not one of my languages. But, when you find the item that you're like, this will mean something to the person. Maybe it's tied to an inside joke. Maybe it's just their favorite whatever.
Yeah.
It's thoughtful.
Yeah.
So much of our world now is me, only thinking about me. I matter more than anything or anybody or whatever. So it's so interesting how when you step outside of that and treat somebody else in a different way, how impactful it is. Which is great and sad at the same time.
Sure. Yeah, I think words of affirmation are big for me as well. I try to do those a lot, and those do have an effect on me. Gift giving is more of a challenge for me. With certain people, I really love to do it, right? And those tend to be the people that I've known the longest, right? And things like that. Quality time, I know, can matter. And sometimes for me, the quality time is because my time is, I do so many different things that when I give it, I consider it a big give, not because I'm so amazing, but just because it's time, right? That I could be doing something else and I'm choosing not to.
And it's probably quality because you're not on your phone, you're not scrolling through your Apple Watch and, all the other distractions that a lot of times people are like, well, I spent time with my kids. I'm like, cool. What, on your iPad?
Yeah.
While they're sitting there putting together Legos and you're just sitting in the room, like that doesn't count.
Mhm.
Like put
Yep.
away all the distractions, really focus in.
Yep.
Really focus in on the quality time.
Yep.
I do love physical touch,
Of
but
course.
obviously can't do that with everybody. And I'm not going to do that with everybody. And as I've gotten older, it is interesting how much more reserved I am
Yes.
in that particular
Yeah.
space.
That can actually be a hard one for me. Difficult. I shouldn't say hard one. It's one that isn't always as natural to me. Some of that is because just the way my life has been, I haven't had a whole lot of opportunities for that necessarily, which I've been largely okay with. But when I've had opportunities, I've noticed when it's a little more challenging. It's not something I immediately go to. Words of affirmation is a lot easier. Quality of time is a lot easier to give out. Acts of service, easier to give out. Yes, but I've recognized too for more and more people, for more and more of my life, physical touch matters a lot to a lot of people, which makes sense. It is a part of what we're wired for, right? And when if you have a dearth of hugs or contact, even from people that you're friends with, you can feel it after a while. Yeah, that's a big one.
Well, and nowadays, everything is so designed for no contact. So designed for no contact. Obviously, COVID kind of expedited that a little bit because a lot of things has been changed to no contact.
Yeah.
Even though we're all back to usuals. But like nowadays, you don't even have to go to the bank. You can do it all online. You can deposit, you can withdraw, you can transfer, you can do all that stuff. You can converse with people with never having to meet them in person.
Yeah.
You can order all your groceries online, have them delivered to your door. Any food. You don't even have to leave your house anymore.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, I think, that so much of our life is now tuned out from physical interaction with people.
Yeah.
That when somebody actually tunes into it, it really makes a difference.
It does. It can also be something, and I worry about this with, I work with a lot of younger clients, younger male clients in coaching, and I'm not sure they can name you what their languages are. Like, I don't even think they know. What is it? Is it words of affirmation? Is it physical touch? Is it acts of service? Is it, any of those things? I don't think they necessarily know.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's because, COVID's part of it, right? And all of that and no contact and the way technology has changed things. But it is something that they're aware that they're anxious about these things, but they don't know exactly why, and that is something that I have concerns about because we all are designed for interaction. We're designed to need contact, right?
I mean,
and connection.
And this is a thought for people who are listening and tuning in. When was the last time that you hugged somebody for longer than like 5 or 7 seconds? Like where you really embraced somebody for a longer period of time, where it's like you are non-verbally communicating that I care or that you matter or that, I want to be close to you for whatever, and people, I think, depending on who it is, right? There's some people you're like, no, wait, that's not happening. But usually you pull away because you're like, okay, well, that was enough for me. Now I'm getting uncomfortable. It's like, why is it uncomfortable? I mean, like I said, depending on the person, depending on what you've gone through in your own physical life and whatnot. But there is something about extended embrace.
There is, and there's actually some science behind it.
We knew that was coming. You got all antsy in your chair over there.
If you want to really break through on something like that, 20 seconds. A 20-second hug will actually activate the sympathetic system in each person's body, and you'll soften into it, right? And more, because it goes beyond just that, hey, how are you doing, as nice as those are. And we're talking about the two-handed hugs, not the side hugs.
Yeah.
Right? Which we all do and are appropriate and are okay and nice little reminders, nice little tap. But if you're really wanting to connect with somebody, a 20-second hug can melt their defenses, right? And that is true. And I've tried that before with people, and it works. Yeah. It works where and they may pull away, and I'll be like, nope, I'm not pulling away yet.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see you. Right?
There is one person I guess I've met them, like I got to know them like within the last year or so. And I don't see them very often. I don't know them very well. I know them through other people, but I see them from time to time. and they're from Texas, and they are very like strong huggers.
Big
and
hugs.
this is a gentleman. He's very kind and he's very respectable. But since the first time I've ever met him, it is a huge 2-armed, very strong bear hug. I see you. How's it going, Ashley? So nice to see you today. And it's so genuine and it's so funny. It's like that every time. And there is something about it when I know I'm going to see them. You almost like look forward to it.
Yeah.
You know, and it just, because it just is like, it makes you feel so good.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, they're so excited to see me.
Yes.
Or they care.
Yeah.
And this person does, like, we don't know each other that well, but they've just always been that way. And it's just funny because they're like one person that sticks out in my mind.
And why does it stand out? Because of that. Exactly. Because there's this sense of safety, enjoyment, being seen, being recognized, all of those things. If you think about it, it hits on so many of those different languages. Right? It's a gift. It's physical touch. It's an act of service, right? It's so many things all at once from a person that is on the outer circle, right? That's the great thing about love, to bring it back around to some of the things we love. We have all these circles. We have our close circles, our closest, and then we have all these different circles all the way out to the people maybe that we work with or that we, people that I work with at the pub, that type of thing, outer circles, but they can all have value and worth. And they can all be sources for us to experience being seen or experience love, experience appreciation, and to give it out. And that part, I think, is amazing because it means we have a very full field of opportunity. Now, if you are listening and you don't have a lot of those fields, then that suggests that more people in your life might be a good thing. Developing more of those circles. And what can you do? What can you step in? How can you show appreciation? How can you find those people? And find them in physical capacities, not through some, online gaming system or, connecting just only on social media. As, I suppose that's better than nothing on some level, but
Well, it's a start.
it's a start.
Right.
Right.
But there is something to be said about like going and doing things in person. You go to spin class. I go to jiu-jitsu. I feel like I'm hugging people all the time at jiu-jitsu because of the nature of the sport.
Yes.
In a way.
You're hugging them and then slamming them to the floor.
Yeah. It's a hug with intention.
Good to see you slam. I like that. That's funny. Okay.
But anyways, well, that was kind of a fun episode, wasn't it?
It was. I think there's so much to it that, I always find with every episode we do that it dovetails and threads in and converges with every other subject, which is why it's such a fun show to do, right? Because we can literally go anywhere. But this love subject, I think, is one of the universals, because really building a better life and developing internal resilience is really an act of loving ourselves as well, and learning how to see ourselves and appreciate ourselves and know what our skills are, know what we're capable of doing. And if we can do that and appreciate more where we stand in regards to the love that we have for others and where we generate it within ourselves, this is one of those areas where it's going to cascade in everything else. I don't think that's true with necessarily everything, but this is such a core piece of who we are, right? When we're born and we're babies, what are we doing? We're connecting with the parents. We're smiling, right? We're going back and forth. We're enjoying that. We're looking around and eye contact with babies as they stare and take in things, right? It's all about connecting with people.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's one of the cool things about it. So I'm glad that we did this.
A little different spin on a Valentine's.
A little different spin, but it is one of those things that reminds us of the spectrum of what life brings, the great joys, the great difficulties, and we cannot separate the two necessarily, nor should we, because that's what creates a life of meaning. That's what we're really all about here.
That's very true.
Thanks, Ashley.
Well, thank you, JD.
All right. And thank you for listening to this episode of Staying Power. Remember, if you missed any of this episode or any of our other episodes, you can get this as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find our YouTube channel, Staying Power Show, and you can watch episodes. You can also find out all the different ways to get in touch with us via social media and our email, stayingpowershow@gmail.com, by looking at the show notes in all those locations, as well as at our radio home, 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle. Thank you to them. Thank you to you. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan, our engineer, and we will see you next week. I'm JD.
I'm Ashley.
Take care. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.